Are you stuck at a 200 rating with no idea of how to get to the next level of the FIDE Master title? Believe it or not, my thoughts about chess were once as messed up as yours are. You see, I was stuck at the 200 rating for 2 years, and you have no idea how frustrating that was for me. You know, I remember in 2008, I had these great breakthrough tournaments like the Australian Championship, where I got a performance rank of nearly 2,450. Tournaments like Sydney National Open, where I was performing at 2,350-ish. With results like this, you would think that the FIDE Master was just a matter of time, right? But that's not how it turned out in reality, because in 2008 and also in 2009, there was so many things that were happening where just everything seemed to be going wrong with my life. For example, in 2009 alone, I remember that I was losing to a lot of low-rated players in very frustrating and very painful ways. So I was having some really bad tournaments. Not only that, but also I was having a lot of challenges at school where there was a lot of stress there. Not only with my academic results and the challenge of teachers letting me down, especially in mathematics, but also with problems with being bullied a lot at school. And the way in which I normally dealt with these challenges and sort of escaped from all the problems in my life was playing on the internet chess club. But then in 2009, I was getting bullied a lot on the internet chess club as well, the cyberbullying. So I lost that safe haven that I had, because when I went home, what was happening was my dad was still very depressed at this time. And also in 2009, that was the year that my mum developed the wet macular degeneration. That is where you lose all the central vision in your eyes. And there was all this stress coming from all these different angles. And you know what? It took a toll on me. And it took a toll on my chess as well. And so the good news is I was able to find some ways to change my situation, to improve my situation, and to start moving in the right direction. And let me share with you some examples of things I did differently that made things a lot better. In terms of school, I got some help from a few tutors, a few high-level tutors who really helped me to get back on track by academics. And I have to give a huge shout-out of appreciation to my friend Blair Mandler, who took me from just completely failing at maths due to some things that were going on at school to actually doing quite okay at it as such. Still wasn't my great subject, but at least it meant I was still able to have good marks overall at school, which I'm incredibly grateful for. Also, other things I changed where I stopped spending time with people who are holding me back. And the people who are holding me back then were the people at school. I stopped spending time with any of the students there because it wasn't supporting my vision of becoming a FIDE Master. I totally stopped spending time socializing with the chess players on ICC. In fact, I completely stopped playing on Internet Chess Club and switched to Play Chess, which had a much more supportive and enjoyable community. And so the way I replaced this social interaction is I then spent a lot more time on the online chess forums, talking with other strong chess players, which was helping me to improve a lot more quickly to get that feedback even beyond what I was learning from my coach at the time, GM Ian Rogers. And also it was very fulfilling for me personally to actually use my expertise to help those chess players who were not at the same level that I was yet, like the club players, 1600, 1800, 1400, and so on. And I learned a lot also from helping these players as such. Like, this is what allowed me to really hit the ground running as a chess coach, where even though at 18, when I started my chess coaching business, I didn't have a lot of experience doing the one-to-one lessons at that time, but I had so much experience helping other chess players, hearing their problems, seeing what other people said, the different solutions they came up with to help students that they found valuable. And of course, having a lot of experience myself as a coach, like this time of helping others, it made me feel a lot better and stopped me focusing on how everyone was being unfair and being cruel to me and how life was unfair. Instead, I focused on the pleasure I got from helping others with their chess. And in the process, I also learned a lot, as well as feeling a lot better. Some other things I also changed, well, those are the main ones, but I also learned how to block out the distractions. For example, when my dad was like screaming all the time while I was trying to study, I learned how to block that out and to put myself in a much more sheltered situation where I could just totally focus on what I was doing, whether that was studying for school exams or whether it was studying chess. And that led to some big differences and improvements in my play, which is where we get to how things changed for me in what would normally be my busiest year, with the final year of high school when you've got the exams and going for university, right? But it was in this busiest year that I was able to make the biggest progress because I was using my time much more effectively and I was getting more done in less time while also having a lot more energy at the same time. Does that sound awesome to you? Well, that was before I even had a proven process to actually help people get to be a lot more productive and have a lot more energy and a lot more focus, which were really the things that were the big game changers for me. And these are the results that I got after making those changes. I went from being stuck at a 2,200 rating for 2 years, knowing I was better than that, but not showing in the tournaments, to then just getting the FIDE Master title in just 3 tournaments. So let me tell you a bit about each of those 3 tournaments, actually. Because that first one I played, the Commonwealth Championship of 2009, you could say that this was one of my big breakthrough tournaments, actually. Because before that, I'd had a lot of bad tournaments in 2009. My FIDE rank was only just over 2,200. To give you an idea, I was actually in the bottom half of the field for this 2009 Commonwealth Championship. So in the first round, I was actually playing against IM, who ended up actually being the winner of the tournament with a quite dominant score. The point, though, is that because I had fixed my mind, I'd got rid of all the crap that was in my mind, and I was therefore doing much more productive and effective training with my chess. That meant that in that tournament, I just had a really great event. I beat a lot of high-rated players. I beat a few IMs, I remember. Also beating a couple of FMs as well in the event. I got quite a few draws as well with high-rated players. And the result of that was that I finished on a score of 6 out of 9 in that tournament. And I actually was only half a point off my first international master norm. I was actually winning in the last round of the black pieces against another future grandmaster, Daniel Fernandez, who was a bit younger than me. But I remember what happened was that while I was trying to focus, that the organizers were just basically pulling all the tables out, just crash, smash all over the place as such, because it didn't occur to them that, well, Daniel and I were both playing for a norm, we both needed to win in order to get our international master norm as such. But they were completely oblivious, and yeah, while it's happening, I kind of, blundered like an idiot, and then, game ended a draw, and neither of us were really happy with the result. But I still did get the 3rd place and the bronze medal for that Commonwealth Championship success. And you know what? The funny thing is my school actually did reward me for it, where the principal at the time actually gave me the highest gold award for elite sporting performances, actually recognizing chess as a sport, which is something that is normally not done in Australia. We're so backward here. You guys have no idea how lucky you are if chess is a national sport in your country. But yeah, I got that recognition. That felt really, really good to know that the, let's say, community that previously had not been very supportive of my chess, at least for the students, saying they were all on board and congratulating me. And it was a powerful moment, not going to lie. The second tournament that was a big breakthrough for me was the 2010 Australian Championship. And so in that second tournament on my path in going from 2,200 FIDE rating to the FIDE Master title, I didn't have a very good start to this tournament. Again, I was in the bottom half of the field with a rating of around 2,250 FIDE for my really great performance in the Commonwealth Championship. And I only had started with a score of 2.5 out of 6. And I was really quite crushed at first after that second loss that I had in a row. But then I bounced back. I fought back and I started winning game after game. I won 3 games in a row to get back on track. And then in the end of the tournament, last 2 rounds, I scored 1 out of 2 against 2 players rated 2,400 plus FIDE. And that allowed me to have a very nice result of equal 5th place and finishing among the big guys in the tournament. Because there were a lot of grandmasters and a lot of IMs who were playing in that event. And yeah, that was definitely... Having these great results just gave me a lot of confidence to play better and better and to really start believing in myself. And that came from doing things differently in my training and changing my mindset at home So rather than being a victim of circumstance, I created my own situation and controlled what I could control in order to achieve my goals, which at that time I was like, man, I've got to get this FIDE Master as soon as possible, because it was just a necessity. I just knew I had to do it because I was so far behind from all the years that I had wasted, like, being stuck in a total hell, quite frankly. Now, the third breakthrough tournament for me was the 2010 Sydney International Open. And that was a tournament that was sort of started out quite, let's say, normally for me, where in the first 6 rounds, I beat all of the lower-rated players, and I lost to 2 grandmasters I faced. Funny enough, in one of those games in round 2, I was actually playing Gawain Jones, and I actually got a winning position with black using some opening preparation, which I was very proud of at the time to out-prepare a GM. But okay, it's also true, he was quite a lot stronger than me at the time, and so he did outplay me. Even though I got the winning position, he still outplayed me later as such. So, yeah, going into day 4, though, this was the big day, if you like. And it was really nice, because at that time, actually, I had this sort of love interest, let's say, and it was kind of nice to be able to share the journey with someone, like, just outside of my direct family, I guess. Because at that time, like, I didn't really connect with the kids my own age. I was, let's say, had very different goals, very different values, so on and so forth. But anyway, going back to the story, on day 4, I started out being paired with white against an IM from India, who the previous year in the SO had absolutely blown me off the board. It was kind of embarrassing, quite frankly, for me. But then in this game, I actually was outplaying him, and I had a big advantage with the white pieces. But, you know, I didn't play it in the best way. He defended quite resourcefully, and game ended in a draw. Still not a terrible result, of course. And then in round 8, this was the key game where I realized that if I won with the white pieces against Daryl Johansson, Grandmaster Daryl Johansson, then I would get the FIDE Master title from getting my FIDE rating above 2,300. And, you know, in the past, I would have been kind of nervous and been like, I don't know whether to play for a win or a draw. But the thing is that in 2009, I'd actually played a training game against my coach, Grandmaster Ian Rogers. I'd actually managed to draw with him in one of the training games and actually beat him in another one of the training games. And that gave me the confidence of knowing, okay, I may not have beaten a Grandmaster yet in a tournament game, but if I've done in training games, if I've done in loads and loads of games on the internet, then I know I can do it in a classical game as well. And that allowed me to play a lot more boldly and a lot more confidently, so that, you know, I played English attack in the Open Sicilian against his Skaveningen. I just went, you know, I played like a G6 pawn sack just at his king. Like, I didn't even really calculate, I just played it because I was so confident in myself, and that, you know, if I just went for the attack and kept him under pressure, that eventually he would collapse. And although he was rated, you know, 150 or more, actually more than 150 points higher rated than me at the time we played this game, you know, he wasn't able to deal with the pressure of me just attacking his king. And I was actually able to win that game and get the FIDE Master title. So you can imagine, like, I got the double whammy. Like, I beat a Grandmaster for the first time ever in a tournament game, and I got the FIDE Master title with that same game. And it was kind of important to do it then, because if I hadn't done it in that tournament, I would not have succeeded in my dream of getting that FIDE Master title before finishing high school as such. So that's pretty much the story I want to share. Like, those were some of the shifts that I made, where I went from having an extremely difficult personal life to being able to get on top of things with my life, to get on top of things with my chess, and to actually show what I was really capable of. And I share this story because, okay, maybe your circumstances aren't absolutely identical to mine, but I think you resonate with the fact that maybe there are some challenges or some struggles that you've been facing on your chess journey, and maybe not all of them are pure chess skills, but it might be other things, like maybe you're lacking some confidence, or maybe you are sort of a bit scared, like, you know, you take draws too early instead of going for the opponent's throat, or maybe like you're playing too defensively, or maybe you're trying too hard to attack the opponents when you should just be a little bit more patient, and if you let them sort of come to you, you would just win a lot more. You know, whatever your situation is, I've been through those challenges. I know what it takes to make those shifts to get to, you know, the 2,300 plus level, which after all is the focus of this video, showing my story of how I went from being stuck at 2,200, kind of feeling kind of like, what am I doing wrong, and sort of being myself up, to actually playing at that 2,300 plus level. Because when you're playing at that level, the title just come and the rating just come naturally, okay? So don't worry about that. The result will come when you start showing the skill in the tournaments. I have a proven process that does get you to that skill in a much shorter time than anything else. And basically, that's really why I want to create this video, to show you that there is a better way than what you're doing right now. And that better way entails be working with chess masters for 14 hours a week. And in doing so, we do the training for you, basically. All you've got to do is show up, pay attention when we are sharing with you the master and grandmaster magic. And then you're going to absorb that thinking process by practicing it with us. So when you're sitting at the board, you two are going to play at a 2-300 plus level and get the master title. You're going to get there a lot more quickly, and you're going to get a lot more cheaply than if you do it on your own or do it one-on-one, 1 hour a day with a coach. 14 hours a day, let's just blow it out of the water. Sorry, I should say 14 hours a week, I work 14 plus hours a day on my business, but of course, yeah, I understand that for you guys, more like 14 hours a week for your chess. And that will get you from 200 to 300 within 12 months if we're being very conservative, but it's all right if we over deliver. All right, guys, this was a fun video. I hope that you found my experience insightful. Always welcome to comment below with what would be a good thing for you guys to comment. Okay, comment 2-300 below if you want me to help you get from 2-200 to 2-300. And as always, yeah, like, subscribe. Really appreciate the support, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.